Imagine being sealed inside a massive wooden vessel, no land, no sun for months, only endless waters and the cries of animals around you. This was Noah's reality for 370 days. But how did he survive? What did he eat? How did he care for thousands of creatures? And most importantly, how did his faith sustain him when the whole world was erased beneath the flood? In today's video, we journey inside the ark to uncover the daily life, struggles, miracles, and divine strategies that kept Noah alive through the greatest storm in history. Let's step aboard. The flood is one of the most dramatic events in the Bible, but the real mystery is what happened after the rain began. Many know that rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights, but few realize that Noah actually spent 370 days inside the Arkansas. That is 1 full year and 10 days without stepping on land. No sunlight for weeks. No fresh food. No escape. Only water as far as the eye could see. How did he survive? What systems kept the animals alive? What kept their spirits from breaking? What sustained them when the entire world outside was gone? To understand Noah's survival, we must explore not just his physical preparations, but also his spiritual resilience, his discipline, and the divine wisdom God gave him to preserve life. This is the story of survival against all odds. 1. The timeline of the flood, more than just 40 days. The common belief is that it rained for 40 days and that the flood ended. But Scripture reveals a far longer process. Stage duration reference rain and rising waters, 40 days Genesis, 7 to 12 waters, prevailed on earth 150 days Genesis, 7 to 24 waters, began to recede after 150 days Genesis, 8 to 3 ark rested on Mount Ararat 70th month. 17th day Genesis 8 to 4 dove sent/land, still wet 40 more days Genesis 8 to 6 Noah exits the ark after 370 days Genesis 8 to 14:19. This shows that Noah didn't leave as soon as it stopped raining. He waited patiently for God's command. The lesson? Survival is not just about endurance, but about obedience. 2. The ark, God's blueprint for survival. God didn't just tell Noah to build a boat. He gave precise measurements. Length, 300 cubits, about 450 feet / 137 meters. Width, 50 cubits, 75 feet / 23 meters. Height, 30 cubits, 45 feet / 13.7 meters. 3 levels inside the ark. Room partitions for organization. Pitch coating to make it waterproof. A window for light and air circulation. This wasn't a primitive boat. It was a floating ecosystem designed for long-term survival. It had ventilation, waste systems, and storage units. Scientists today say the ark's dimensions were almost perfect for stability during massive waves. God didn't just save Noah. He engineered survival. 3. Food and water. How did they eat for a year? God commanded Noah to prepare food in advance. You are to take every kind of food that is eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. Genesis 6 verse 21. This means Noah preserved dried meat, grains, seeds, and fruits. There were possibly fermented foods for longer shelf life. Animals likely went into hibernation-like states to reduce food needs. Noah's family used water from stored reservoirs or rain collection systems. God may have even supernaturally calmed the animals. Scientists suggest that many could have been juveniles, requiring less food and space. This was not chaos, it was divine logistics. 4. Waste management, the hidden challenge. Thousands of animals produce waste daily. How did Noah handle it? Jewish tradition and many scholars suggest the ark had heavy checkmark slope floors for drainage, heavy checkmark manual labor shifts. Each family member had duties. Heavy checkmark vegetation absorbent materials, straw, hay. Heavy check mark, possibly composting systems. The ark was not just a shelter, it was a living system, where life was preserved even at its lowest moment. Managing life meant managing the mess that comes with it. 5. Daily life inside the ark. Work, worship, and waiting. Inside the ark, time must have felt frozen. Every day looked the same. No sunrise, no fresh air, no horizon, only survival. Yet Noah's daily routine may have looked like this. Morning prayers, thanking God for life. Feeding the animals, organized by enclosure. Cleaning and maintenance, waste removal and repair. Food inventory, rationing supplies carefully. Rest and reflection, keeping spirits alive. Evening worship, reminding themselves of hope. The ark was not just a shelter, but a school of faith. The world outside was erased, but inside the ark, faith was being forged. 6. Emotional survival, the battle inside the mind. Imagine waking up every day to darkness and unknown waters. No news, no assurance, no indication of when it will end. Mental strength was key. What kept Noah and his family sane? Hope in God's promise. Purpose in caring for life. Routine to fight despair. Family unity. Prayer and worship instead of panic. Psychologists say long-term isolation often breaks the human mind. But Noah stayed firm. Why? Because he had something modern psychology often cannot explain. The presence of God inside the storm. 7. Why 370 days? What was God doing? God could have ended the flood after 40 days, but he didn't. Why? Because the world wasn't just wet, it was being reborn. God was cleansing, reshaping, and resetting creation. The waters needed time to settle. The earth needed time to dry. Seeds had to sprout. Nature had to stabilize. Noah waited, not because he had no choice, but because he trusted God's timing. Sometimes God keeps us waiting not to punish us, but to prepare us for the new world ahead. 8. The ravens and the doves, signs of hope. As the waters began to recede, Noah sent out a raven, it never returned. A dove, it returned with no place to rest. A second dove, it came back with an olive leaf. A final dove, it did not return. The raven represented death and decay. The doves represented peace and promise. The olive leaf symbolized new beginnings. The world was no longer a graveyard, it was recovering. God was rewriting the earth. 9. Stepping onto dry land. The first thing Noah did. After 370 days, Noah finally stepped outside. What was his first action? Then Noah built an altar to the Lord. Genesis 8 verse 20. Noah did not explore the land first. He did not build a home first. He worshiped first. This reveals the secret of his survival. Heavy checkmark, he put God above comfort. Heavy checkmark, worship above worry. Heavy checkmark, faith above fear. Noah didn't survive because he was strong. He survived because he was faithful. 10. The covenant, God's rainbow of promise. After the altar, God made a covenant with Noah. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth. Genesis 9 verse 11. God sealed this with a sign, the rainbow. The rainbow was more than a symbol of beauty. It was a contract written across the skies, a promise of protection, a divine guarantee that mercy would triumph over judgment. Every rainbow since that day whispers, I remember Noah. I remember the promise. I remember you. 11. The lessons Noah left for us. From Noah's survival, we learn timeless principles. Life lesson from the ark, meaning, today faith leads to survival. God saves those who trust. Preparation is obedience. Work is part of worship. Storms don't last forever. God always sets an end. Isolation can build strength. Silence can sharpen faith. Waiting is not wasted time. God's timing is perfect. The ark teaches us that survival is not escape. It is transformation. Noah didn't leave the ark the same man. He stepped out with a stronger faith and a deeper purpose. 12. Inside your own ark, what about you? Perhaps you are in your own ark right now. Maybe you are surrounded by uncertainty. Maybe the world feels flooded. Maybe you are waiting for the storm to end. Like Noah, you may not know how long it will last. But one thing is certain. If God called you into it, He has already prepared your way out of it. The ark was not Noah's destination. It was his transition. The same is true for you. The hidden purpose of every storm. Every life faces storms. Some are sudden, like a diagnosis, betrayal, loss, or failure. Others are slow and silent, loneliness, disappointment, fear, or uncertainty. Storms come in different shapes, but one truth stands firm throughout history. The storms we survive shape the future we build. This truth echoes through the story of Noah, the journey of Israel, the trials of Job, and even the life of Jesus himself. Storms are not always punishments. Sometimes they are preparations. Sometimes they break us to rebuild us. Sometimes they remove things we didn't know were in the way. Storms do not just test our strength, they reveal our foundations. 1. Why God allows storms, the purpose behind the pain. Many ask, why does God allow storms? Why must pain exist? The Bible never says believers will avoid storms. In fact, Jesus said, "In this world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world." John 16 verse 33. Storms serve purposes. They expose weaknesses that comfort hides. They redirect our path when we drift. They break our pride and build humility. They strengthen our character for future battles. They prepare us for responsibilities we do not yet see. Noah's storm did not destroy his purpose. It revealed it. 2. Noah, the man who built the future on top of a flood. When the flood came, the world saw destruction. But heaven saw a foundation for a new beginning. The ark was not just a survival boat. It was a seed of the future. The world Noah stepped into after the storm was not the same world he left. It was new ground, clean ground, ready for rebuilding. The lesson? Your future is often on the other side of your worst storm. God didn't save Noah from a storm. He saved him through the storm. The same happens to us. Sometimes God will not stop the storm, but He will lead you through it to shape what comes after it. 3. The 3 types of storms in life. Understanding storms helps us survive them. They usually fall into 3 categories. Type of storm: purpose, example, corrective storm to redirect us, Jonah; protective storm to shield us, Noah; perfective storm to refine us, Job. Corrective storms turn us back to God. Protective storms keep us safe from what we cannot see. Perfective storms shape us into who we were meant to become. The key question is not, why am I in a storm? But rather, what is this storm shaping me into? 4. Storms reveal strength we didn't know we had. Comfort makes us peaceful, but storms make us powerful. Darkness shows us the power of light. Trials teach us endurance. Pain teaches us empathy. Loss teaches us to value what truly matters. Noah discovered leadership. Joseph discovered destiny in prison. David found courage against Goliath. Paul wrote letters from jail that changed the world. Their strength was not shown in comfort, but in storms. You don't discover who you are when everything is easy. You discover who you truly are when everything hurts. 5. What do we do inside the storm? Storms can break you or build you. The response determines the result. The Bible reveals the best survival principles. A. Stay anchored in faith. Noah never doubted the voice he heard. Job said, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." Faith is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to stand even when fear is loud. B. Take one step at a time. God didn't give Noah the full plan, only the next step. Storms teach us to walk by faith, not by sight. C. Keep worship alive. Even in darkness, Noah built an altar. Paul worshipped inside prison. Worship is not just music. It is a declaration that the storm does not own your faith. D. Do not rush God's timing. When the waters receded, Noah still waited for God's command before leaving the Arkansas. Even when you see hope, wait for God's timing. Mistiming can turn survival into disaster. 6. The storm creates the builder. Once the storm ends, something powerful happens. God often gives you a task. Why? Because storms are training grounds, not just trials. If you survived it, God trusts you to build something from it. Look at the patterns. Person Storm Future built Noah Global Flood Foundation of a New World Joseph Betrayal, and Prison Egypt's Salvation Moses Wilderness Exile Liberation of Israel David Persecution Creation of a Kingdom Jesus Cross and Tomb Salvation for Humanity. Your scars might be the blueprint for someone else's survival. Your testimony could be the key that opens someone else's prison. Storms do not end your story. They start a new chapter. 7. What you build after the storm matters most. Noah did not walk out of the ark and rest. He built an altar. Worship was his first step into the new world. Faith must guide the future, otherwise, survival means nothing. Your survival has purpose. What you build after your storm shapes not just your life, but the lives of those who come after you. Some survivors build ministries, support groups, books and testimonies, families of faith, compassion for others, courage in fearful hearts. Survival is not selfish, it is a calling. 8. When storms lead to transformation. Storms often remove things that were quietly destroying us. False relationships, secret pride, spiritual laziness, attachments to this world, the illusion of control. What feels like loss is sometimes surgery. God does not always subtract to punish. Sometimes He subtracts to heal. Your next season may require less weight to be carried. That is why storms remove what your future cannot hold. 9. The psychology of storms, how the mind survives. Human psychology reveals something amazing. People who survive crises often experience something called post-traumatic growth. Instead of becoming weaker, they become heavy checkmark, more resilient. Heavy checkmark, more empathetic. Heavy checkmark, more focused. Heavy checkmark, more spiritual. Even science agrees. Storms have the power to shape the future mindset. Those who survive storms don't just return to normal. They become rebuilt into something stronger. 10. Biblical principles for life after the storm. When the waters fall and the sky clears, what should we do? Noah gave us the pattern. 1. Remember God's faithfulness. Survival is not luck, it is divine purpose. 2. Release the past. Don't rebuild what God removed. Noah didn't go back to old cities, he began fresh. 3. Build something new. Your survival is a seed. Plant it. Start. Move. Build. 4. Leave a legacy. The future is shaped by today's choices. A storm survivor is a future architect. 11. A message to the one still in the storm. Maybe your storm has not ended yet. Maybe you are inside the ark, waiting, wondering when it will all be over. Hear this truth. Storms are not signs that God left you. Sometimes, storms are signs that He is protecting you. Do not judge your future by what you see now. The skies may be dark, but the ground is forming beneath the waters. New land is rising. A new season is coming. The storm is not your grave. It may be the birthplace of your destiny. What the storm leaves behind. When Noah stepped out of the ark, he did not just walk into a dry world. He walked into a divine mission. His storm shaped the future of humanity. So can yours. The storms we survive shape the future we build. When the winds have calmed, when the waters begin to fall, when the silence becomes heavy, and when God finally says, "Step out." Build, create, love, plant, worship, help others survive. For the greatest legacy is not avoiding storms, but turning survival into purpose. Storms do not define us. They refine us. They don't end our story. They begin a new chapter. And perhaps, just like Noah, your storm may be the reason someone else sees a rainbow. Rainbow Sailboat Dove. For 370 days, Noah lived through silence, storms, and uncertainty, but he never lost faith. His survival was not just about food or structure. It was about trust in God when everything else was gone. The ark wasn't just a refuge. It was a classroom of endurance, obedience, and hope. If this journey inside Noah's world inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful biblical truths. What moment from Noah's journey impressed you the most? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, remember, when God is your shelter, no storm can sink you. Cloud with rain, dove,